two brilliant universities in the City of Nottingham, who have been playing an incredibly important role in terms of dealing with the coronavirus crisis, whether that's the University of Nottingham and Nottingham Trent University, who have actually lent key testing equipment in order to boost the nation's capacity and also to do tests, but also are working in terms of a mapping of the coronavirus so we can best understand to treat it. And it really, the City of Nottingham goes to shine the light as to what an important role higher education institutions play in terms of our battle with the coronavirus. You raised an important point, and that important point in terms of those social care settings, those homes. And right at the start, we recognise that local resilience forums, which Nottingham City Council is actually part of and a key player as part of, actually are vital in making sure that we get the distribution right on PPE. So when we're bringing more PPE into the country and when it's being manufactured in this country, we're using the local resilience forums as a key element to making sure that the right type of equipment is getting into care homes and many other such settings, and that will certainly be the case, making sure the right equipment gets to the right places, and the local resilience forums will play a key role in that. I'm not sure if you would like to add anything at all, Jim.
Thank you, Secretary of State. So I think perhaps what isn't evident just from discussing PPE generally is just how complex the distribution system is, and that represents the fact that, as you've highlighted, the care sector are really critical in our response, and that's not just the care sector in care homes, it is individual care workers working on a domiciliary basis on an individual client's home as well. And that poses challenges in itself. So if you like, on the one hand, there are quite well established, or were at the start of this process, hospital drop systems. We have had to develop much broader ones to reach right out to the care sectors more generally. But even so, and as Secretary of State has said, the LRFs actually are extremely critical in scooping up, if you like, an opportunity for us to ensure that we can reach those very small care homes, independent care homes or individual care workers who might not otherwise feature in some of the bigger national planning. So they are a critical component of this. I do know that there have been 2 drops out to LRFs recently. There are 2 more. The first, a third drop 3 planned for tomorrow, the 20th of April, and hopefully another one actually the same day, a 4th drop. So these are ongoing. So the LRFs who have experienced receipt of PPE, it doesn't mean that this is forgotten, it's on an ongoing basis. But going back to some of my earlier comments, it is also really important that we don't just drop a certain amount of stuff in PPE in one area or a few areas where LRFs can use it and leave others with frontline staff unsupported. So it is inevitable, but where there are potential shortage supplies internationally, we want to do more frequent drops to ensure that critical staff on the front line are given the right equipment and have that. And that inevitably means there will be smaller quantities over shorter periods of time until individual PPE lines stabilise.
Kees, is there anything further that you'd like to ask?
Yeah, just on the reopening of schools, if I could.
Of course. Is
the timing of that dependent on you feeling that schools have an adequate supply of cleaning materials, hand sanitizer and that sort of thing? And if so, what guidelines are being drawn up to give to the schools and the trusts to make sure that those schools can be as safe as possible for parents and children and staff when they do eventually reopen?
Kit, we've already issued an awful lot of guidance on this, and it's available on the gov.uk website. There's, if you want to be able to access, and I can organise for someone to be able to send you a link in terms of how we've been advising schools in order to deal with the challenges, because we mustn't forget many thousands of schools have continued to remain open over the last few weeks in order to be able to support vulnerable children and the children of critical care workers as well. So, but we'll constantly update that advice. But I have touched upon the fact that the key element as to when the decision is to open schools will be when those 5 tests that were set out by the first Secretary of State at the end of last week, when they're met, then we're in a position to look at how we change the restrictions that we're currently operating under. Well, I'd like to take the opportunity to thank everyone for taking the time to tune in, but also for making sure that they have continued to adhere to the guidance that the government has issued, making sure that we protect our NHS and save lives. Thank you very much.